What if the deadliest creatures on Earth weren't lions, sharks, or even humans, but microscopic robots that have been waging war for billions of years? Today we dive right into the secret battlefield of bacteriophages.
A war has been raging for billions of years, killing trillions every single day, while we don't even notice. The war is fought by the single deadliest entity on our planet, the bacteriophage, or phage for short.
That's actually a crazy interesting topic, an invisible war that makes Game of Thrones look like a playground spat. Trillions dying every single day? That's basically bacteria's version of a Call of Duty lobby.
A phage is a virus, not quite alive, not quite dead. Also, they look as if someone made them up. Their head is an icosahedron, a sort of dice with 20 faces and 30 edges. It contains the genetic material of the virus and often sits on a long tail that has leg-like fibers. There are more phages on Earth than every other organism combined, including bacteria. And they are probably everywhere living things exist. Billions are on your hands, in your intestines, and your eyelids right now. Which might make you nervous since phages are responsible for the majority of deaths on Earth. But you're lucky. While they do commit genocide for breakfast, they only kill bacteria. Up to 40% of all bacteria in the oceans are killed by them every single day.
So phages are basically the weirdest sci-fi creatures that already exist. An icosahedron head with spider legs? That's literally a rejected Star Wars droid concept. And the fact that they're everywhere on your hands, eyelids, gut is unsettling but also kind of metal. Genocide for breakfast is insane phrasing, but accurate. They wipe out 40% of ocean bacteria daily. It's like nature running the ultimate purge just to keep the ecosystem in balance.
But phages also have major flaws. Like any other virus, phages need a host to survive and reproduce. They're not much more than genetic material in a hull, and they specialize. Usually, a phage has chosen one specific bacteria and maybe some of its very close relatives. These are its prey. Imagine a phage as like a cruise missile that only hunts and kills members of one very unlucky family. When a phage finds its victim, it connects its tail fibers with receptors and uses a sort of syringe to puncture the surface. In a weird motion, the phage squeezes its tail and injects its genetic information. Within minutes, the bacteria is taken over. It's now forced to manufacture all the parts of new phages. They only stop when the bacteria is filled up with brand new phages. In the final step, they produce endolysin, a powerful enzyme that punches a hole in the bacteria. The pressure is so high that the bacteria sort of vomits out all of its insides and dies. New phages are released and begin the cycle anew.
That cruise missile for one unlucky family bit is both hilarious and horrifying. Like, imagine a weapon so picky it only targets your cousin Greg. The syringe tail move is straight up alien body horror, stab, inject, hijack the factory. And then the bacteria doesn't just die, it literally explodes in goo thanks to endolysin. It's basically a microscopic Saw movie on repeat, but instead of Jigsaw, it's Mother Nature doing the directing.
In the last few years, bacteriophages have enjoyed the attention of the second deadliest beings on Earth, humans. Recently, we've started looking into injecting millions of them into our bodies because we're sort of getting desperate. We screwed up. In the past, a single cut or a sip from the wrong puddle could kill you. Bacteria were our phages, tiny monsters that hunted us mercilessly. But then, about 100 years ago, we found a solution in nature. By accident, we found fungi that produced a compound that killed bacteria, antibiotics. Suddenly, we had a powerful superweapon. Antibiotics were so effective that we stopped thinking of bacteria as monsters. Only the old and weakest among us were killed by them. We used antibiotics more and more for less and less serious causes. We lost respect for the monsters and the weapon. But bacteria are living things that evolve, and one by one, they started to become immune against our weapons. This continued until we had created what are called superbugs. bacteria immune to almost everything we have. This immunity is spreading across the world as we speak. By 2050, superbugs could kill more humans a year than cancer. The days when a cut or bladder infection or a cough could kill you or your loved ones are coming back.
So now humans are eyeing phages like, hey, maybe you can bail us out. Classic. We burn through antibiotics like they're TikTok trends, and shocker, bacteria adapt. The irony is brutal. We went from fearing infections to throwing antibiotics at stubbed toes, and now superbugs are basically the new final boss. By 2050, they might outkill cancer. It's like history doing a speed run back to the Middle Ages, except this time we've got microscopic cruise missiles as backup.
In the US alone, more than 23,000 people die from resistant bacteria each year. But it turns out that phages, our tiny killer virus robots, could save us. We can inject them into our bodies to help cure infections. Hold on, how can injecting millions of viruses into an infection be a good idea? Phages are very specialized killers of bacteria. So specialized, in fact, that humans are completely immune to them. We are too different. We encounter billions of phages every day, and we just politely ignore each other. Antibiotics are like carpet bombing, killing everything, even the good bacteria in our intestines that we don't want to harm. Phages are like guided missiles that only attack what they're supposed to. Wait a minute, if we use phages to kill bacteria, won't bacteria develop ways of defending themselves? Well, it's more complex than that. Phages evolve too. There has been an arms race between them and bacteria for billions of years, and so far they're doing great. This makes phages smart weapons that are constantly getting better at killing.
It's insane to think there's this eternal, invisible arms race raging right under our noses, billions of years of bacteria and phages duking it out while we're just scrolling Instagram. Antibiotics were like dropping nukes, but phages, they're precision drones in a war we don't even perceive. And the wild part, this conflict never ends. Bacteria adapt, phages counter-adapt, repeat forever. It's like the world's oldest Cold War, but microscopic and way more violent.
But even if bacteria were to become immune against our phage, we still might be able to win. It turns out that in order to become resistant to even just a few species of phages, bacteria have to give up their resistance to antibiotics. We might be able to trap them in a catch-22. This has already been successfully tested with a patient who had no other hope left. The bacteria Pseudomonas aeruginosa, one of the most feared bacteria, infected the man's chest cavity. They are naturally resistant to most antibiotics and can even survive in alcoholic hand gel. After years of suffering, a few thousand phages were directly inserted into his chest cavity together with antibiotics the bacteria were immune to. After a few weeks, the infections had completely disappeared. Unfortunately, this treatment is still experimental, and pharma companies are still reluctant to invest the necessary billions in a treatment that has no official approval yet. But things are finally changing. In 2016, the largest phage clinical trial to date began, and phages are getting more and more attention. And we better get used to it, because the era in which antibiotics have been our superweapon is drawing to a close. It might be a weird concept, but injecting the deadliest being on planet Earth directly into our bodies could save millions of lives. This video was made possible by a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. If you'd like to support Kurzgesagt, you can do so on patreon.com/Kurzgesagt and get fancy things in return.
The idea of trapping bacteria in a catch-22 feels like humanity's first clever comeback in this microscopic death match. You know, one patient literally went from hopeless to healed because phages outmaneuvered a monster bug that laughs at hand sanitizer. Sure, pharma's slow to jump on board, but history shows desperation usually fuels innovation. The real twist, our survival might depend on teaming up with the deadliest being on Earth and turning it into a doctor's tool. That's both terrifying and kind of genius. Kurzgesagt did an amazing job breaking this down. Seriously, links in the description. And next time, let's just say we'll explore another big question you didn't even know you had. Stay nerdy.